You don't crave sugar because you're weak. We crave it because our dopamine systems have been hijacked. And the worst part about it is that hijacking feels normal. So if you've ever reached for a snack without knowing why, or binged a show while also scrolling your phone and mindlessly eating potato chips, this episode's for you. Because today we're talking about the real reason behind cravings. And I'll give you a couple tools that you can use to take your power back and become mentally unstoppable. Welcome to Get Leaner and Live Longer with Nate Palmer, the show for busy people who want to maximize their energy, burn fat, and build a body that feels as good as it looks. I'm your host, Nate Palmer. I've been a coach since 2008. I believe that looking great and feeling unstoppable do not require hours in the gym or giving up the foods that you love. This show is where I share real strategies that will help you get leaner, live longer, and unlock your $1 million body. So if you're ready to take some of the power back, get your willpower dialed in, and feel your best, then let's do this. Let's rewind like 300 years. No fridges, no pantries, no Uber Eats. Didn't have snacks at arm's reach. Didn't have sugar in everything. Because back then, dopamine was earned. We got it after a successful hunt, after building something with our hands, after making it through winter without succumbing to pneumonia. And even then, it wasn't this flood of pleasure like we experience today. It was like a brief signal. You're on the right path, keep going. That's all that dopamine was meant to be from an evolutionary perspective. Picture this, way back, day of the life of a hunter-gatherer, caveman stuff. You wake up with the sun, you walk miles every day to track prey or forage for roots, berries, vegetables, herbs. Maybe you find food, maybe you don't. Either way, you got to get out and walk. You're going to be lifting, you're going to be carrying, you're going to be running, you're going to be climbing, you're going to be enduring the elements. You're going to be out, it's going to be hot, it's going to be cold, it's going to be windy. Maybe there's snow on the ground. But if you don't go out and hunt or forage, you don't eat. And then when the group succeeds in hunt, there's a small feast. There's laughter, there's gratitude, there's everyone's around the fire. Then you rest. There's no screens, there's no sugar rush, there's no endless choices. You either get woolly mammoth to eat or you get nothing. Back then, dopamine was our survival compass. It was what helped us stay motivated to do hard things, to move, to build, to persist, to overcome. The spike that we got of the dopamine only came after discomfort and risk. But nowadays, dopamine is everywhere. There's no effort required. There was a 2016 study from Stanford, and it showed that dopamine not only influences how much we like something, it determines how much we're willing to work for it. So the less sensitive our receptors become from this overstimulation that we have currently, the less likely we are to pursue effort-driven goals. In other words, the more cheap dopamine we consume, the lazier our brains become. Think about that. Think about how much cheap dopamine we're consuming on a daily basis. Today, you can get 100 dopamine hits before you even get out of bed, and you can not earn a single one of those. None of those are hard to come by. Here's what that looks like in my life. It's scrolling my phone while sipping coffee. That's dopamine. Checking my notifications, got a little red dot, dopamine. Put the Netflix on autoplay, watching a little bit of Broad City, dopamine. DoorDash shows up without me moving. I just press the buttons on my phone. Someone brings me a burrito, dopamine. I got AC in my house. It's 73 degrees. I got heated seats in my car in the winter. It's warm. Comfort on demand, dopamine on demand. Amazon, I ordered something the other day. I got it that afternoon. Less than 24 hours. It was reward with zero effort on my part. And then think about porn. It's an ultra concentrated dopamine stimulus that your brain interprets as reproductive success without any of the emotional connection or any of the baggage that comes along with actually having to talk to a human. The energy, the effort, all of those things that are clearly important from an evolutionary perspective. There was a 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology, and they showed that compulsive pornography use reduces your gray matter volume in the reward and motivation centers of your brain. Okay, think about that. It's literally shrinking your brain in the reward centers. This means that real world effort, stuff that you're actually doing, building, making connections, going out and talking to women, God forbid, feels way less rewarding because you know you can go home and get that same sensation for free. It doesn't cost you anything. So that what ends up happening is our drives plummet, our attention fragments, motivation to go do something of substance drops. These are what are called supernormal stimuli. These are like fake versions of things that our brains evolved to want, and they're on tap 24/7. But the thing about them is that they are so new, right? If you grew up in the 90s, they don't feel that new, but they are radically new in this grand scope of humanity on the earth. Our nervous systems developed to chase effort-driven reward. These modern dopamine traps that we have all around us, they've only existed for the last like 50 years. And I mean, like maybe in the last 100 years, we've been able to have like warm showers or air conditioning or lights after the sun goes down. Most of these big, heavy hitting dopamine shots that we're getting, though, have only become mainstream in the last like 15 or 20 years. We were never meant to have 24/7 access to food, to entertainment, to novelty, to arousal. Our lizard brain hasn't caught up yet, and the mismatch is crushing our focus, our energy, and our willpower. So it's not your fault that you have these sugar cravings. It's how we are currently living, our environment. So in order to get past this, we have to do things that are a little bit different, a little bit extreme, that make people look at us and be like, wow, do you really have to do all that? Because yes, you do. Right now, if you want to be healthy in this current society, in this current environment, you have to be very counterculture. So if you feel addicted to sugar, just want you to know, you are not broken. You're just responding how a well-functioning hunter-gatherer brain should in an environment that it was never built for. When our brains saw sugar, berries, fruits, whatever else on the ground, we would instantly be attracted to it. We would want to eat it to save some calories, get us some energy, because we don't know when the next thing is coming. So when our hunter-gatherer brain is like, ooh, sugar, I need to put that in my body to save up for the coming winter. But we have sugar literally just lining the countertops, inside the fridge, in your pantry, in the freezer, sugar all the time. It is very difficult to get past that and stop feeling that draw to do something which our evolution has built into our body. One of the big ways that I think we can start addressing this is by talking about hunger, because hunger is a sensation that I think a lot of us don't like. We don't feel good when we have it. We take that signal from our brain, that hunger signal, and we think something's wrong. We need to eat. But I want to give you a little bit of a reframe on that. Is that hunger is not the enemy. It is the path to clarity. When you fast, when you're not eating, you produce what's called BDNF, brain-derived nootropic factor. This is your brain's like upgrade signal. It's helping you think clearer. It helps you move quicker, react faster. It even improves hand-eye coordination. Additionally, your blood sugar will stabilize, cravings disappear. So if you can train your brain to stop seeking constant stimulation from a nutritional standpoint, from a hunger standpoint, you can help it start earning that dopamine again. So fasting, whether you're fasting in between meals, you're doing some intermittent fasting, or you're doing 24, 36, 48, 72-hour fasts on a weekly, monthly basis, it's more than just the fat loss. It's more than just the longevity aspect. It's neurological control. It's taking back the steering wheel from our cravings. It's wrenching that back and being like, no, I'm in charge. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do is take back control and say, no, I'm in charge. And I'm not just going to be blindly following what I feel like doing. Our feelings can often be lies, right? And we know this in emotional situations and communication, that like the way we're feeling at one point when we want to have a really spicy response, you think about that, you take a shower, and all of a sudden you're like, probably shouldn't have said that out loud. Same thing with our feelings around cravings, around discomfort. These are not truth. It's just a sensation. So making sure that you can pull back control from your feelings and not give in to everything every time you want to do something or want to stop something. This is a key way to rewire your brain. One thing we want to be doing when we're trying to rewire our brain and eliminate this dopamine addiction and this control that's been put on us is by chasing discomfort on purpose. And it sounds crazy because we're wired to look for comfort. Like that's the more comfortable we are, the safer we are. Evolutionarily, like if we can be in a cave with fire and like when it's raining outside, that's comfortable. That's better, right? So we've evolved in a way to seek this out. Right now, we live in an air-conditioned, climate-controlled environment where rarely are we being put in challenging situations. So we have to chase discomfort. You have to be counterculture here. So think about things like even like going to the gym. There's a nice Lifetime Fitness right near my house. And it is gorgeous. It has the most beautiful machines, and it's got the great locker room and hot tub and sauna and steam rooms and pools and stuff like that. But you go inside there, it's 72 degrees. It's beautifully air conditioned. It's great in Arizona in the summer. What about training outdoors once in a while? Train outdoors when it's hot, when it's cold, when it's raining. Do something that's just a little bit not comfortable. And the one way I like to think about this is I like to mess with myself. When I start thinking a certain way, like, it's a little hot, I go, yeah, good. Like that means you get more of it. And I think that like giving yourself permission to mess with yourself in those ways, when you start feeling a certain kind of way, not necessarily punishing yourself for that, but pushing back against that feeling. You felt, you want it more comfortable. Well, how about it's going to be harder now. You wanted a little less weight. We're going to do more weight now. You wanted to stop on those reps. We're going to do more reps. Think about little things like finishing your shower with the cold water on, turning the thermostat up or down a few degrees, or turning your AC off in your car. Even things like walking barefoot outside on the rocks, things like that, where they're not huge deals, but they're mild inconveniences. And if you force yourself to go through those, we can start resetting the dopamine receptors in our brain. One thing that comes up for me a lot is like little things like taking the trash out. The trash is full. I see it. It's late. I don't necessarily want to do it. I think to myself, well, you saw it. You don't want to do it. Now you have to do it. And you force yourself to do those things. And it's these little tiny things, these little choices we make on a daily, hourly, like basis that help us retrain our brain to start seeking discomfort and start actually allowing ourselves to experience real dopamine spikes instead of just these fake ones. There's a book called The Comfort Crisis by Michael Eastert. And he says in that book, every day, do something hard on purpose. Another way that I really love doing this, and especially great for nutrition, is delay your gratification by default. So like the default answer is no. So what that looks like is like a 5-minute delay before acting on any sort of craving. Make yourself drink a glass of water before you go eat something in the afternoon. Walk or do squats before meals. No phone the first 30 minutes of your day. No dopamine double ups. So eat or scroll, but don't do both at the same time. Things like that. So just delay your gratification. You want that snack? Awesome. Tell yourself you can have it tomorrow. You want to have a dessert? Tell yourself you can have it on Saturday night. You want to have a drink? Maybe like, okay, I'm going to have that drink, but I'm going to have it in 2 weeks when you have like that birthday party. Delay your gratification. And I guarantee when you do have that, you will have already had more dopamine release from the anticipation of that activity. And you're going to enjoy it a whole heck of a lot more than just indulging every single time you feel like doing something. I got to talk about nutrition here. So nutritional resets, I think are a great way to manage this, because our food is one of our biggest dopamine hits all the time, because it's soft, it's salty, it's sweet, it's carb rich, and it just gives us the dopamine hits. That's why there's so much food addiction in this country right now. So think about things like no sugar until you've had protein. So if you want to have that dessert, are you having something with protein with it? Cutting out snacking completely, just being like, I'm only eating at mealtime. Save your carbs for the post-workout for the evening. This is a great nutritional strategy in general, but I also like the idea of like, okay, I'm not going to have those now. I will have them later. It's that delayed gratification. Doing a weekly 24-hour fast, resetting your dopamine from the inside out, or doing like a 5-day sugar detox. If you can go to thefreesugardetox.com, you can grab mine. Do a 5-day sugar detox, reset your baselines. It's got a 24-hour fast in there as well. And then train your mindset. Be a little savage. Don't be afraid to be counterculture here. So stop negotiating with your brain. We have our brains, and they'll start feeding us information and feelings, and I don't know, you might want to stop, might want to cut back, might want a little treat. But that's not who you are. You get to make a decision. So in the space between the impulse and the action, there's a quick moment where you get to make a decision on who you are and how you want to address that problem. So stop negotiating with your brain. In that moment, pull it back under your control. You are in charge. You can dominate your brain. So when your brain screams at you, hey, I'm done, you just whisper back at that, I don't take orders from cowards. Take that one to the bank with you. I think about this all the time. When I'm want to not train legs or it's been a long day. I don't want to go to the gym, or I'm on like rep number 13. I was supposed to do 12, but I know I got a couple more in me, but my legs are burning. I'll literally think about this. I don't take orders from cowards. And that's keeps me, just gives me another 1, 2, 3 reps. It resets my mindset and puts me in a much more savage mental place. And if you want to be healthy, fit, and have all the things that we all desire, the freedom, the family life, the relationships, you have to be a little bit savage right now, because otherwise we are going to be in a dopamine rut. You're going to feel unfulfilled. You're not going to get joy out of the things that should bring us joy. So use that mantra if it feels good for you. I don't take orders from cowards, and then push through. That voice in your head that tells you to stop, that's not you. That's your past. That's your excuses. That's the devil on your shoulder, but he's soft. He's got a little belly. His arms are not filling out his t-shirt. Push one more rep because you don't want to. That's a great reason to go one more, is because you don't want to. And when you do things you don't want to do, it makes you stronger, harder, and more death resistant. Very important. In these moments, you're not just building muscle, you're also building your override system. You're building that space in between impulse and action. You're proving to yourself that you're in control, that your mind follows your mission, not your mood. You're not broken. You're just overstimulated in a world that rewards softness and comfort. But the good news is that we can all rewire ourselves. We can chase discomfort. We can control our cravings. And we can earn our dopamine. And next time you feel that craving hit, say it out loud. I don't take orders from cowards. Thanks for listening to Get Leaner and Live Longer. I appreciate you. If you want help resetting your dopamine and your discipline, start with the 5-day sugar detox at the free sugar detox, or book a call with me. I'll see you next time.